And I'm here to tell you, Mr. President, in front of God and country, based on her policy positions that she is demanding that I just outlined, $1.5 trillion of pure, unadulterated spending porn. Based on that demand, the American people are looking at her and saying, this person has single-handedly put an end to dumb blonde jokes. Because that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. $1.5 trillion of this kind of spending porn. The American people are looking at the Congresswoman and saying, with respect, she must be bilingual. She must speak English and stupid. The socialist wing of the Democratic Party, led by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, has said to the American people and to the United States Congress and the Republicans in Congress, if you Republicans don't agree to make the federal government $1.5 trillion, not $1 million, not $1 billion, $1.5 trillion bigger, we're going to shut government down. Well, of course we said no. I'm not going to vote for that. My mother didn't raise a fool. And as I've said before, if she did, it was one of my brothers. I'm never going to vote for that. Now, where do I come up with this figure of $1.5 trillion?
So, here's what went down. On the Senate floor, Kennedy didn't hold back. He called the shutdown bone-deep stupid and said it's not about policy, it's about power. According to Kennedy, Democrats aren't fighting Republicans, they're fighting each other. And guess what? Kennedy says it's the socialist wing, led by AOC, that's winning. He even claimed Senator Schumer may be the face, but he's not in charge. That's right. Kennedy says AOC is calling the shots.
I think a more accurate description is to call it the socialist wing of the Democratic Party. I think that's fair. Now, I'm not saying that all of my Democratic friends are socialists, but there is clearly a wing of the Democratic Party that can only be described accurately as the socialist wing of the party. And that party is in ascendancy. That party is in control. Now, my friend Senator Schumer is the leader of the Democrats in the United States Senate, and he, of course, has instructed his colleagues to vote to shut down government. And Senator Schumer has been criticized for that, and I understand. I don't agree with him. I think he made a mistake. But I don't think Senator Schumer is the leader of this effort. I don't. I think Senator Schumer, like many of his colleagues, would like to be loved by everybody in the party, and he would like to be loved by the socialist wing of his party. And I do think that's part of what is motivating this shutdown, and that's why I say it's all about politics. But I don't think Senator Schumer is the person in charge, because Senator Schumer is not the leader of the socialist wing of his party. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is. She's running the show. It was no accident the other day the Congresswoman let it slip. She said, if you really want to negotiate at the end of this shutdown, come see me.
He pointed to a moment when Ocasio-Cortez reportedly told others, if you want to negotiate, come see me. Kennedy says that's no accident. She's the quarterback with Bernie Sanders as her backup. But he insists it's not personal. Kennedy claims AOC's agenda, with $1.5 trillion in new spending, is anti-American. He rattled off a list reversing Medicaid reforms, endless Obamacare subsidies, removing work requirements, and pouring tax dollars into programs overseas. All, he says, at America's expense.
We have found, for example, just in Louisiana, we did a statistical sample of the people on Medicaid in Louisiana. Our auditors found 1,600 people on Medicaid making $100,000 a year or more. That's cheating. So our bill put an end to that. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and the socialist wing of the Democratic Party want us to put it back. They want to let people cheat. What else are the socialists asking for in this $1.5 trillion? Well, they're saying we don't want people who can work to work. We put a provision in our bill that the Congresswoman and the socialist wing of her party want us to take out that says, look, if you're between the ages of 19 and 64 and you're able-bodied, we're not talking about a mother with a sick child in her arms, you're able-bodied, you're perfectly healthy, and you don't have any dependent kids at home, then if you qualify based on income, we'll give you Medicaid, but you have to work. You have to work 20 hours a week or go to school 20 hours a week or do community service 20 hours a week, because the free enterprise system jobs have done more to lift people out of poverty than all the social programs put together. That's what's called a work requirement. What's wrong with that? Those who can't work should work. Our welfare programs were meant to be bridges, not parking lots. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and the socialist wing of her party want us to reverse all of that. What else do they want us to do? Well, they're upset at us over the Affordable Care Act. Now, let me tell you what all this is about with the Affordable Care Act. Under Obamacare, if you are a low-income American, you're entitled to Medicaid. If you are a middle-income American, you have a job, then chances are you get insurance through your employer. Most people do. But if you're in the middle, you make a little more money than the poverty level, but you can't get insurance through your employer. We provide what's called the Obamacare exchanges. So when we talk about the Obamacare subsidies, that's what we're talking about. It's about 24 million people. And it was meant for people, for lower income people. Up until 2019, it was all for low income people. And then in 2019, without any Republican votes, President Obama said, look, we're in a pandemic. We're going to raise the limit. We're going to say there are no income limits on Obamacare paid for by the taxpayer. We've got 24 million people on Obamacare. When they raised the limits, you can make any amount of money and still get a subsidy. That added about 1.6 million people.
Kennedy says Republicans just want 6 more weeks to work out a clean budget, but the socialist wing won't budge unless they get it all. He even joked, she must be bilingual. She must speak English and stupid. That line set off fireworks online.
We're not asking for any additional appropriations, any conditions, any stipulations. All we're asking for is what we call a clean CR. All we're asking for is just further negotiate. And Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who has done a stellar job in rising to the leadership of her party, they have said to our request, let's just continue the status quo for 6 more weeks. They said, we'll give you 6 more weeks if you will give us $1.5 trillion. That's what they're demanding. And that's why we're shut down. I'm entitled to criticize hers. And I'm here to tell you, Mr. President, in front of God and country, based on her policy positions that she is demanding, that I just outlined, $1.5 trillion of pure, unadulterated spending porn. Based on that demand, the American people are looking at her and saying, this person has single-handedly put an end to dumb blonde jokes. Because that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. $1.5 trillion of this kind of spending porn. The American people are looking at the Congresswoman and saying, with respect, she must be bilingual. She must speak English and stupid.
And the fallout? The internet's on fire. Supporters say Kennedy's exposing the real power structure. Critics call it disrespectful grandstanding. But here's the bottom line. Kennedy thinks AOC is steering the Democratic Party, and America's future is on the line. So, is AOC really the boss? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you're fired up, and don't forget to subscribe for more no-spin political breakdowns. This is Hot News Today, where you get the truth, raw and unfiltered. See you next time.